Hi, so in this new live stream, I'm just going to carry on with the platform game that I've been working on. Hi, so as you can see, this is the Game Maker Studio 2. I think it's 2.4. Just check. It's Game Maker Studio 2 2002 version. Okay. So what we've got so far is a player object, and we've got an enemy object with a basic AI to make it move left and right and shoot. We've created 2 rooms, and we've been working on the controls and the graphics. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at importing engines and also a few other things like the background and sprites. So although our player movement was working, what I found was that you could just import a ready-made engine that's been kind of like perfected or worked on, and then I've compared the 2 different kinds of player controls, and I've decided to opt for the new version. So what I've done is I've downloaded a platform engine for the control of the player object. So this is a new code which is placed in a step event. So again, we're using the keyboard left and right keys. So this is the end step event. So it's a lot smoother because there's a lot more checking for solids. And then I've just added some of my own code to play the sound, which I showed in the previous live stream. So we've got the audio play sound for landing and the sound for jumping. And I've just added my own variable, which is jumping and flame sprite. So I'm just going to play room 1. So this is the new platform control engine. So all the movement, the jumping and the collision detection for the solid, this is all from the new engine. So it's pretty good because it's not getting stuck in the solid objects. I've had to add my own code here, which I'll show you in a bit, in order to stop it from getting stuck in the walls. So the jumping is better, it's a lot smoother. And you can also notice that I've just made an improvement to the player sprite. So what I've done is I've added a mini jetpack. So this can like help explain why you can kind of jump and change direction in midair. Because in reality, you wouldn't be able to jump and then jump back. Okay, so what I've done with the player object is I've added a sprite. So if you go to our new player object, go in the draw event, what we can see is we've got a variable which is called in air. Now in air tells us whether the player's object is jumping. So in air will always be true if there's no ground object below it. So we'll know that we're either jumping or we're falling down. In this case, we want to draw our flame SPR. Basically, we want to draw our mini jetpack, but we want to draw it behind. So first we draw our jetpack, and then we draw our player sprite. So if we just go to jet flames, this is the sprite name. So this is the sprite for the mini jetpack. So it's just six frames with a little animation on the flames coming out the bottom, and its origins at the center here, which is at 718. So what we're doing is we're just drawing this sprite. We're just drawing the sprite of the jet flames before draw sprite. So that gives it the kind of effect of having a little mini jetpack on the back. Okay, now the other thing which I've done now is I've downloaded a background, and the background dimension is 1366 768. So I've just resized it in my paint program so it fits the window. So if you go to room 2, you can see here now I've added the background. I mean, it's not perfect in terms of like matching colors, but it fits in with what we're working on. So we just got a little bit of a forest. It needs to be a bit more vibrant. Okay, so how we do that is we go to our background layer, which is here at the top left, and then we scroll down, we go down to where it says sprite here. So in our object inspector, go down to where it says sprite or no sprite, and then we select the background sprite. So the background image has been loaded in as a sprite object, or a sprite asset, and it's there. So once you select it, the sprite gets stored as a background image. Now the other thing you can do is you can have a play with the effects. So at the moment I've got a heat haze effect. You could have none, a simple plain image, or you could have different kind of like effects, and you could just play around with the colors. You can also colorize it like this, so that gives you a nice kind of like a sunset feel to it. You can make it more green. So this is just colorizing the background. You've also got contrast, so you can make it darker or lighter. So this is good because you could have the same background image, and you could have it darker or lighter in different rooms as you need. That's desaturate. You've also got dots. You've got edge detection. These are quite good. This allows you to create a simple gradient effect on the background. You can also blur it out. So you've got quite a few different effects for backgrounds. These are all built-in effects. Just pixelate. So this is a screen shake effect. Now the thing with these effects is I'm pretty sure you could set them in real time, while the game is actually playing. So for example, you could use the screen shake effect when the player was jumping, and you could even try that. It's underwater. I mean, that's a pretty good effect. Okay, so we're just going to stick with the heat haze. Just play with the different values. Okay, so that's our background sorted out. Now, the previous versions of Game Maker, they used to have a lot more image tools, so you could like colorize, add effects, and things like that. But in the new version, the effects seem to be limited to blur and grayscale, resizing, cropping, and basically that's about it. Mirror and flip, and that's about it. So anything else, you'll need a separate paint program to do. So for example, if you wanted to make this darker, we'd have to use a paint program. The only other way would be to add a new layer. So this is the Sprite Editor built in. So this is a new layer. What we could do is select layer and then fill it with black, like so. And then if we then go into our layer properties, we could change the opacity and then just bring it down. So this will give the appearance that it's darker. So if we were to create more of a nighttime effect, we can use this method here. And the other way would be to draw a black opaque rectangle on the sprite. So if we go back to our room one, you can see the platforms become a lot darker. I mean the grounds become a lot darker. And we could do the same thing for our platforms here as well. So we'll just set the opacity to 80. So make it 50. See a difference here. So we'll set it at 50, and then we'll do the same thing for our sprite ground. So you double click on the frame, and just go add a new layer, fill it with black, and then we're going to right click on it and then select edit layer properties and make this 50. So that's saved by itself. So if we go back to our room one, so now we can see the platforms and the ground is darker, kind of fits in more with the background and the kind of nighttime feel. So let's just test the background. So this is now the room one with the new background. You can see the heat haze effect, and we've got our darker platform and ground. Yeah, so it's much better in terms of control. So that's the background sorted out and the engine sorted out. See, the problem here is a bit of a space between the ground. So how you would get rid of this space here would be to go to the right layer, which is in solids, and then double click on the ground object, and then what you can do is you can just move its Y value down by 1. Don't know why that's done that. And that looks better. Yeah, I think the problem here is okay. So how do you import engines? So when you download something off the internet, it could be somebody else's code for an engine. It could be like somebody's assets or somebody's extension. Extensions, you can just go to Marketplace and go to your library and then click on it to install it into your game. And the other way is also you can create and import local packages. So I've downloaded a new engine for water. So I'm just going to try to add that. So what we do is we go to Tools and we can import a local package. Mine is called Splash Water Platform. So this is the local package. It's got everything that's been downloaded in order to create the water effect, which I'm going to show. So we've got to select what resources to import. So just double click on them and then press import at the bottom. So these are now being imported and you can check them out here. So we've got our water object, water sprite, sorry, and our mask for a water sprite. Okay, so the way they say you use this is to simply just drag it into the room where you want water to be. So if you go to our objects, here's the object water which we just added to our game. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create ground. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new sprite. So let's go to our sprite ground, right click on it, click on duplicate. So we just duplicate the sprite and then we just give it a name, sprite ground half. Just going to double click on it. And we just want to have a new ground which is the same size as this one, which is 120 by 40. So the way we do that is we go to image. First, just let me copy the image, go to edit, select copy image, copy selection, there you go. Okay, and then we go to image and then resize all frames. There's something wrong here, which is going to delete the layer. So I'm just going to copy it again. Okay, so now we're going to go to image, resize all frames, and we just want a small narrow sprite, 120 by 40. So we're going to resize the canvas to 120 by 40, and we want to keep the bottom section of it. So just press apply. So there you go. So it's just created the bottom section there. And that's all we need. Try adding a layer again. Now we're going to create a new object. I'm just going to go to where it says ground half, and then we're going to right click and duplicate it, and just click on rename it to ground below. Double click on it, we can change the sprite to the one that we've just created. And now we can go to our room and we can drag that new object into the game. Just make sure your grid is on if you're going to position the object. This makes it easier to align it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add water into the area here. So we're going to get the object water and then position it where we want it to be. And what they said was you just drag and fill it in like this. Like so. And then just click on it, Control C and then Control V, copy and paste, and then we can just fill that bit in there. So now we've got like two kind of, I don't know, ditches or holes, whatever you want to call them. Okay, if you're watching, maybe you could like and share the stream. I'm currently streaming out on TikTok and YouTube Live. On TikTok, the username is RizBitUK, and on YouTube, its channel is @RizBit. Okay, so now we just have to test it because I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work or if it's going to give an error, but we can always just test it and see what error we get. So we can see the water has actually worked, so it's worked there. So let's just test it. So that's good because it looks like we're under the water. So now we can add water to our game now as well. The only thing that's not working is the splash, because it's meant to splash. And I think the way they do it in their version of the engine was to make the player object solid. Might work. No. So we just go to our object water. I'll just see what we need. I think it's this object here. So if we set our player's parent, oh, we've already got it set there, so we can always just try solids per layer. But we can set our ground objects parent as par solid. Try that. I'm just trying to get the splash effect to work, so just working on the code for that, because when the player jumps in, it's meant to splash. Back in a second. This is how it's meant to look. Okay, so what we need is a collision event with the water. Let's go back to our game. Go to our player object and add a collision effect with water. Still hasn't worked. I think what they've done is they've created a variable somewhere. Could be as a macro. Could be in the room. I'm not really sure how that's done now, so I'm just going to leave it because it can't seem to find where it's been defined. The only other thing I could think of is setting its value here and then just referencing it as a local variable from here. So our only problem was seeing the gap below the ground, so we can fix this by making sure the width and height are 120. Resize all frames. We're going to take off the maintain aspect ratio. Just resize the ground object sprite to 120 by 120. Now this should hopefully work. Just make sure our origin is still 0, 0. Now let's go into our room 2. Yeah, so that's worked now. So we don't see any more gaps between the ground object. And let's just add some more water in this room as well. So we go to our right, make sure we're in the right layer, and then drag the water sprite. Cancel it. Drag the water object and then just stretch it to fill. Okay, so I've just modified room 2. So the only way you can get past the, what are you going to call it, the hole here, the hole filled in with water, is to go over it, up and over it. So you can't actually jump from here because there's ground above it. I'm just going to fix up the played object because in our previous one we were able to shoot, but because we're using a new engine which was written by somebody else, we're going to have to edit it so that we're not using the space key to jump. We're going to use the space key to fire bullets. So we're just going to copy our code. It's better. So this is our player old. So because this is the old version, call it player old. Go to our step event and just copy the code for firing a bullet, which is here. And we just paste it in our keyboard check pressed. So what this code does is just execute whatever's in the brackets when you press the space bar. So there you go. So now we should be able to fire bullets. It's not got an error. Okay, so we're gonna have to set these variables again because we're using a new engine. So let's copy them from the old player object. So we've got the bullet speed and the bullet direction. Now we're gonna have to set the bullet direction in our step event here. So this is the code for walking right. So here we put bullet direction equals 0, and this is the code for walking left. So we put bullet direction equals 180 because the way the direction works in Game Maker is 0 is left this way, then it goes anti-clockwise upwards is 90, and left is 180, down is 270. So let's do that. That should work now. So basically I've got the space bar to fire. Oops. Okay, so that's all for this live. I'm just going to leave it at that because that's been about an hour now. So I've shown how to change the background, how to use background effects, how to import local packages, how to use third-party engines, and I've also added a water object to the game and just fix up some code for the control of player object. Okay, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Rizbit. Come and follow us on TikTok,